Razer V4 Pro is the latest addition to the DeathAdder mice lineup, and with it comes 3 years worth of upgrades, as the previous edition was released in 2022. The V4 Pro comes with a brand new Gen 2 45K focus sensor, optical switches, and much more. So without further ado, let's jump right into the unboxing. Here's a quick look at the box. Feel free to pause this and read it over if you want a quick summary of the features, but we'll be covering all of those in today's video. Upon opening the box, you'll be met with the DeathAdder V4 Pro mouse and the brand new fully redesigned HyperSpeed dongle that provides greater connectivity and stability. This dongle is also weighted, which really does help to keep it to the desk, especially with that bulkier cable. And speaking of the cable, here's a quick look of that cable, which I will note is also significantly wider than previous cables. I'm personally going to have to get a new bungee to hold this thing up because it doesn't fit in my old one. The new cable also has kink-resistant qualities to it, meaning it won't keep that circular shape when coming out of the box or make any annoying loops in use. A very nice touch. Inside the box, you'll also receive a manual that lists some of the features of the new DeathAdder V4 Pro alongside some stickers and some mouse grips. The DeathAdder V4 Pro does come with a smooth matte finish, and for those of you guys that dislike that kind of feel on their mouse, these mouse grips will work great. To understand what makes the DeathAdder V4 Pro special, we first need to look at where it fits in Razer's long-running lineup. The DeathAdder has been a staple in competitive gaming for years now, known for its iconic ergonomic shape, simple design, and reliable performance. The V3 series that was released in 2022 was Razer's first major leap towards the ultralight design and higher polling rates, truly modernizing the classic DeathAdder form. The V4 Pro builds directly on that foundation. It's not a reinvention of the shape is the exact same. Rather, this mouse is packed full of upgraded internals. Here listed now are all the exact dimensions of this mouse, which are the exact same as the previous edition. So if you had a previous DeathAdder, this shape will feel instantly familiar. And while the V4 maintains that familiar shape, every click, swipe, and scroll will feel even more refined than before. DeathAdder V4 is equipped with the brand new Focus Pro 45K optical sensor, which is capable of up to 45,000 DPI, 900 IPS, and 85 Gs of acceleration. Now, I know those are some really big numbers, especially the 45,000 DPI, but what they really mean is that this mouse has unmatched precision. The DeathAdder V4 Pro is capable of a 99.8% accuracy rating at the highest DPI of 45,000, which if you think about it, that is insanely precise. And while nobody plays at 45,000 DPI, this level of sensor headroom ensures flawless tracking no matter how fast or aggressively you move. Here's a quick comparison chart of all the DeathAdder mice lineup. So if you're thinking about upgrading from a previous version, you'll know exactly what upgrades you'll be getting. Now, let's take a deeper dive into the V4 specs. Next, let's talk about the switches and the scroll wheel, two areas where Razer made significant improvements in the V4 edition. The V4 Pro introduces Razer's new Gen 4 optical mouse switches, delivering cleaner, faster, and more consistent actuation with near zero delay. These sensors are rated for 100 million clicks, which is an insane level of durability never before seen on the DeathAdder lineup. These optical switches in the mouse also completely eliminate the double-clicking issues that can plague some mechanical switches. The scroll wheel was also upgraded through the implementation of an optical scroll wheel, which means that the days of ghost scrolling are long gone. This new scroll wheel is rated for roughly triple the durability of the mechanical edition. Also, the scroll wheel still maintains its smooth, consistent feel with less wobble and zero degradation over time. I know personally that I've had issues with my mechanical scroll wheels in the past where it will cause my game to zoom in, zoom out, or even my page to just flick to the bottom. That's because of the faulty mechanical scroll wheels that this mouse doesn't have. The brand new optical scroll wheel in the V4 edition means that will never happen. Scroll wheel feels similar to past DeathAdder mice. However, if you're somebody that likes the endlessly spinning free scroll wheels, this mouse is not for you. And since we're on the topic of clicks, let's go ahead and do a quick sound test so you guys can see exactly what this mouse sounds like. The upgraded scroll wheel and mouse clicks make every feel, click, and scroll feel deliberate and premium. Speaking of the feel, let's talk about the shape and the weight. The body of the DeathAdder V4 Pro maintains that same classic DeathAdder feel that feels exactly the same and has the exact same dimensions size-wise as the V3 Pro. And while the DeathAdder V4 Pro has the exact same dimensions, the V4 Pro is significantly lighter. The V4 Pro comes in at 56 grams if you get it in black and 57 grams if you get it in white. I'm not sure what the 1 gram difference is between the colors, it must just be the coating, but that is a 13% weight reduction in comparison to the previous V3 Pro edition. It's also important to note here too that the V4 Pro edition also has significantly improved rigidity despite the lower weight. On the V3 DeathAdders, the mice had noticeable give and lacked a sturdy feel, especially when you pressed on the sides of the shell in certain places. These issues on previous versions of the DeathAdder are completely fixed, which when you consider the fact that they reduced the weight by 13% and then packed it full of upgraded internals, that's very impressive. The structure feels rock solid without adding any sort of bulk or sacrificing comfort by changing the shape. There's no give or anything like that on any part of the shell as far as I can tell. Razer also introduced new sustainable materials. The V4 uses post-consumer recycled and bio-based plastics, with over 67% of its plastic being recycled or bio-derived. So not only is it now sturdier, it's also more environmentally friendly. And mind you, Razer has fit all of these new upgrades and sturdiness into a 13% lighter mouse. Incredible. Polling rate of the V4 is also a major area of improvement. The V3 wired model already offered an 8K polling rate. However, the wireless V3 Pro required a separate hyper-polling dongle to achieve that same performance. The V4 Pro fixes this. It supports up to 8K polling rate natively, both wired and wirelessly, thanks to Razer's new HyperSpeed wireless Gen 2 technology. That means you'll get the same ultra-responsive performance right out of the box without any extra accessories being required. Of course, though, higher polling rates usually means more power consumption, and you'd be right, but Razer has optimized this mouse for that too. The V4 Pro delivers up to 150 hours of battery life at 1K polling rate and around 22 hours at 8K. That means you can easily run at 1000 Hz for days without recharging, or push your polling rate to 8K for high-stakes matches and still get respectable runtime. And to even further improve your battery life, you can even use this smart polling rate switcher, all within the Razer Synapse software. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I know a lot of you guys watching this video are already familiar with the abilities of Razer Synapse, but for those who may not know, this is the software that you'll download and be able to configure your mouse on your computer with. You can do things like manage the power, calibrate the mice, you can even change the curves, but for the purpose of today's video, I just want to showcase the smart polling switcher. This basically will change the polling rate of your mouse anytime you load up a full screen game. So if I go to load up Valorant, Call of Duty, CS2, my polling rate will automatically switch to that polling rate that I set at 8K. This allows me to get the highest polling rate when it matters the most, while still preserving my battery life when I'm making things like videos. And while we're on the topic of polling rate, let's highlight the brand new dongle. The new Razer HyperSpeed wireless Gen 2 dongle provides 2 times the wireless bandwidth for extra stability and an ultra low 0.2 millisecond average latency. For a bit of perspective, here's the latency on previous editions and versions of the mouse. The latency on this new dongle is a humongous difference, and it makes this mouse have one of the lowest latencies currently available in the wireless mode on the market. But the dongle also has another feature, being the 3 lights on the front of it, which you can customize to indicate things like your DPI that you're on, your connection quality, show your battery life, and more, all right in the Razer Synapse software. You can customize this however you guys want, but I personally just use the default settings. Next, I just want to mention, because I think it's important, that people that don't play with a palm grip might find this mouse a little bit weird to hold because of its slightly bigger and bulkier shape. It is ergonomically designed for those palm grip users. However, if you've tried previous versions of the DeathAdder mice and haven't had any issues, you'll be totally fine when you use this mouse because it has the exact same dimensions. And also on the topic of grip, we have to take a second to appreciate how much better these side buttons are. Razer has decided to separate the 2 side mouse buttons and add a little bit of a gap in between each one to allow you guys to more accurately press the side buttons. This might sound like a minor change, but to be honest with you, when you're actually using it and playing with it, it feels significantly better. I hope every mouse that comes out with side buttons has this gap on it. DeathAdder V4 Pro also comes with a new matte coating that has been reformulated to resist sweat and fingerprints. For those of you that may not like that smooth matte coating, Razer's also provided grips for your mouse right out of the box. I personally like the matte finish, so I haven't used any of the grips, but it is really nice to see that they provided this for us. One small caveat here, though, I need to mention about the shape is that the DPI button is unfortunately at the bottom of the mouse. So if you're somebody that likes to change their DPI in the middle of matches or just kind of on the fly with, say, buttons next to the scroll wheel, you're not going to be able to do that as quickly as you would on other mice. I don't think this is a deal breaker for most people, but I figured it's an important mention if you didn't pick it out from the start of the video. So let's summarize. The Razer DeathAdder V4 Pro is the lightest weighing DeathAdder mouse currently on the market, coming in at 56 or 57 grams depending on the color. V4 Pro possesses significantly upgraded internals featuring the brand new Focus Pro 45K Gen 2 optical sensor, lightning fast optical switches, and even an optical scroll wheel, which when combined with the HyperSpeed wireless Gen 2 dongle provide an ultra fast, low latency experience that's not available on other mice. The upgrades to this mouse are focused exactly where they matter most, most on the feel, the precision, and the performance. With all of these premium features though, you can definitely expect to pay for it, coming in at a price tag of $169.99. For a disclaimer, I was sent this mouse for free, however, I wasn't limited in any way, shape, or form with what I could say in this video. There is an affiliate link down in the description below if you guys want to check out the mouse for yourself, and purchases through that link do help to support the channel. If you have any questions at all about the DeathAdder V4 Pro, please let me know down in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.